Welcome to Tuesday's Tips from So Very Easy. My name is Laura, and adding prairie points on quilts and garments are a lot of fun to do. What is a prairie point, and how do you make it? It's a lot easier than it looks. A prairie point starts with a square. What size square? Well, any size square. The point will be just a little bit shorter than half of the square. So to make one prairie point, you're going to take your fabric that is square and having it wrong side, you need to fold it in half on the diagonal and press. Take it again and fold it in half and press. And you will have this little teepee type shape. So you're going to have one side with a fold and one side with an opening. What makes it into a prairie point is more than one. Prairie points are in a line. When you sew your prairie points together in a row, you need to not leave spaces here. Once you've made a pile of the prairie points, they need to be sewn together in a row, and they are sandwiched in between seams. You need to overlap the points. So you will have the piece that opens up, and the fold is going to go into that space. Then the top will go back down. The next one will do the same thing. So you'll have the folded piece again go into the open area, and you overlap them. And that is what's going to make a prairie point. The key to remember is you need to insert the point in between the inside. If you have the points just touching, you will end up with a space once you've sewn that seam allowance. And this was just a small 1/4 inch seam allowance. So you need to nestle them together. So by inserting the point into the previous triangle, you're going to avoid that big space. What is the proper spacing? Well, the proper spacing is really a personal preference. However, you need to have a minimum of a 1/4 inch coming up so that you don't have that little hole. And it's nice if they're all consistent. To show you the difference, the first block I'm going to do at a 1/4 inch, the second one a 1/2 inch, the next one 3/4, and this will be an inch. I'm going to put my fabrics right side together, matching up the seams, and I'm going to stitch a 1/4 inch all the way, and you'll be able to see the differences. Here's the 1/4 inch, the 1/2 inch, 3/4, and the inch. So you can choose which style you like best. You can also vary the size of your prairie points. You can start with a large one and go down smaller and then go back up in size, or you can do every other one. The sky's the limit to what you want to do with the prairie points. They're beautiful on clothing and they're really fun on quilts. You can put the prairie points right in a border of a quilt, or you can use them instead of binding. If you're going to do them as binding, the prairie points are going to stick out. And that is all there is to making prairie points. Before I add the prairie points to my project, I do a sample, and sometimes I'll do different size blocks to start off with, and I do different sizes of the gap that I want to leave. That way, at a glance, I will know exactly which one I want. And the bonus with making prairie points in borders as well, the measurement is a lot easier because, well, if it doesn't match up exact, you can make it work by just fudging that little space a little. Thank you for joining me today on Tuesday's Tips from So Very Easy. Feel free to subscribe. And as always, come on back. Let's see what we're sewing next time in the sewing room. Bye for now.